you're not just trying to raise good kids, you're trying to raise good adults. And so that's what you're doing is you're giving your kids a tool set. So when they leave the home at 18, whether they're going to college or just out to the real world, they know how to handle themselves. They know how to take care of themselves.
Top leaders, meaningful conversation, actionable advice, bulldoze complacency, ignite inspiration, create impact. Produced by the Southwestern family of companies. This is the Action Catalyst.
So blessed and lucky to be bringing to you Rachel Cruze. She is a great communicator. Rachel's in the media, and she's just quickly becoming a celebrity and a superstar that's making a big difference in the world. Rachel, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I've been so excited about this. Thank you.
So tell us, just what is it like growing up, Ramsey? Like, what is it like growing up in a house with Dave? And what are some of the things that are really different about you from him in terms of the way that you grew up? And just kind of talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, yeah, everyone's always curious about growing up in Dave Ramsey's house for sure. And I think some people have the misconception that we had like mutual fund parties and budget retreats on the weekends and that kind of thing. And thank goodness that was not the case. Mom and dad were obviously intentional with teaching us about money, but it was through a cool style parenting in the sense that they just saw teachable moments, throughout the day, throughout the weeks that they would talk to us about money. And I think some people, think that we were like little money robots or something, and we were all obsessed with money, and that was not the case. And really, the great things mom and dad did that helped us now as Ramsey kids, there's 3 of us in the family, so now we can kind of stand on this solid financial ground and win. And thankfully win not because we're Dave Ramsey's kid, but because we were taught these principles. So now we get to apply that to our own lives.
So the book, Smart Money, Smart Kids, why is it that more parents don't teach their kids about money in the first place?
Yeah, I really don't think parents are. I think money is a very shameful topic. I think it's a very intimidating topic. And so some parents look back on their own mistakes and they think, there's no way I can teach my kids about money. We handle money horribly. Parents, though, so we don't have the right, we don't have the knowledge to teach our kids. So I think there's some of that. And honestly, I think there is a portion of America and a large portion that is stripped out about money, in their own sense. So they're living paycheck to paycheck. They have debt. They're not able to invest for retirement, all these stresses. So they don't even think about it. I don't think they don't have the time to sit down and talk to their kids. And so I think it's kind of a mixture of all of that. But I am finding kind of this lack of knowledge, if you will, on this subject. And so it's not taught in schools. And sadly, a lot of parents aren't talking to their kids about it. And if you know mom and dad's story at all, they actually filed for bankruptcy when I was 6 months old. And so, and they can bounce back and teach us to avoid those mistakes. Any parent can do that. And so with this book, I look at dad's message as kind of the emergency surgeon and I'm the preventative medicine. Your kids are your do-over. They're your clean slate. And so don't feel like your mistakes have to haunt you into your parenting by any means.
So if I'm a parent, I'm listening to the show, what are some jobs that parents can do with their kids at all the different ages, right? Like at what point can they start helping around the house? And what are some things as parents that we can do to put our kids to work early to sort of teach them about money and create these teachable moments, as you call them?
Yes. Well, giving them the value of work is tremendous. I mean, a job well done, feeling like you've completed something, you've accomplished something. There's dignity attached to that. I think some parents are fearful that they don't want their kids to feel the hardships sometimes of life, and they don't want them to have to make hard choices with their time and all of that. But doing those things and making your kids work, it really is a gift. And you can start that, we say, as early as 4 years old. I mean, a 4-year-old can pick up a few toys and quote unquote clean their room, but we all know 4-year-old doesn't clean the entire room because they're 4. And so they would pick up 7 or 8 toys and I say at that young, pay them instantly. So if you're financially able, whatever it is, a quarter or a dollar bill, whatever it is, pay them instantly and show them that money comes from work. Making that connection for them early is so key. So it's a 4-year-old. So you're not, setting up a boot camp for small children. I bet the 4-year-old can maybe have 2 or 3 responsibilities. Made matching socks in the laundry or helping feed the dog. I mean, just little things they can do. And again, maybe 2, 3, 4 things and pay them instantly. And as they get older, their responsibility should increase. And so doing things like cleaning their room, their entire room, making their bed, helping with the kitchen, helping with the laundry, taking out the garbage. I mean, there are plenty of things kids can do around the house. And again, I would encourage parents to pay your kids on those chores. And there will be some chores your kids will do because they're part of the family. And so for us growing up of Ramsey kids, the kitchen was always a place we never got paid. We always were expected to set the table, to help clean up, to help mom do the dishes the older we got, because that was just, to show my mom that we love her and we appreciate her. So there is some act that you're going to do around the house just because you're part of the family. You're not just trying to raise good kids, you're trying to raise good adults. And so that's what you're doing is you're giving your kids a tool set. So when they leave the home at 18, whether they're going to college or just out to the real world, they know how to handle themselves. They know how to take care of themselves.
So there's this concept, which I just think is hilarious. Can you explain what the 401 Dave plan is and why that's important and how that worked?
Yes. Well, growing up, mom and dad always told us that they were not going to pay for our cars when we turned 16, that we had to pay for them. But what they were going to do is actually match the amount of money we saved. And so that is coins the phrase 401 Dave. And that's what he always called it, the 401 Dave. So the matching plan, if you will. And so, yeah, this was great. I mean, it made us, depending on how nice of a car we wanted, depending upon how hard we wanted to work and how much we wanted to save. And so going through that process was incredible. And writing that check at 16 years old, I actually saved up $8,000. So yeah, I got $16,000 to pay for my first car. Well, I would tell parents, maybe it's not the amount necessarily, or even the match. I mean, if you're not financially able to match your kids, then that's fine. But just the process of saving up and paying for something, it's just tremendous. I mean, this is such a culture, such a generation of instant gratification that we can have anything we want when we want it. And so making your kids delay that gratification, have the patience to save, to reach a goal, to have something out, in the future that you're working towards. I mean, it's incredible. So saving money, I don't think it's just to put money away in a bank account and just watch it grow. I mean, you're teaching your kids a lot of life principles through this process of saving money.
Another thing, you talk in this book about the power of giving and how and when and why you can teach your kids to give. So can you just give us some ideas on how and why and when we should be teaching our kids to give?
Sure. Well, I suggest parents, once they do their chores and they get paid some money, yes, to teach them the very first thing they need to do is give. And this can be giving to, maybe a church or a nonprofit or a charity organization or the homeless shelter. Find something that maybe your child's passionate about and see if there's an opportunity to match their passion with a giving opportunity. We live in such a selfish world. And so I think, when you give, you're saying no to yourself. And I think that's an important quality to have sometimes. I think giving is the antidote to selfishness. Mm-hmm. And selfishness, I think, and arrogance and entitlement, it's all kind of wrapped in together almost. So this idea that it's mine, you have a closed fist, and I deserve this, and it's all these kind of emotions. And people who win this money are givers. They give of their time, they serve people, they're servant leaders. They give of their money as well. They're a giving spirit. So when you live with an open hands, it's not a prosperity gospel kind of thing, but I do believe you're blessed, and not in a financial sense, but for your heart. I mean, it's amazing when your heart changes as you're able to help people. And honestly, I think giving is probably the most fun you can have with money. I mean, you can buy some fun things, some fun toy, the fun car. I mean, there's some things you can buy with money that's fine and it's enjoyable. But the joy of giving, there's nothing like it. And so to be able to experience that, as young as 5, 6, 7 years old, all the way up through being a teenager, giving your kids the ability to give and let them experience that, it's almost contagious. And when you think of a child, he's grateful and he's willing to help, who's learned to hold a door. I mean, these little attributes are magnified when they're able to give financially. I think giving can start anywhere in your life, but when you're able to hand over your own money that you worked for, that sense of gratitude and thankfulness, I think, just flows out of you.
So one of the things that's a big expense for people in life is paying for college, right? What are some things that both parents and students can do to help them pay for college without getting into debt?
Sure. Well, there's lots of options, which is wonderful. So if you are a parent, first and foremost, I would say, do not feel the pressure. Don't feel shame. Don't feel like you're a horrible parent if you're not able to help out your kid's college. Mm-hmm. College is not an entitlement. It is a blessing. and that you as the parent are not responsible for that. If you are able to help, that the gift, at the blessing, your child should be very thankful, but it is not an entitlement. It is not a right for them to go to college and you pay for it. So, open up a 529 plan or an ESA. Look into saving for your kid's college. But if you had a teenager in the house and they're headed off to school in the next year or two and you don't have money saved, there's still ways to go to college debt free. Number one, choose an affordable school. So for a lot of students, that's going to mean staying in state, taking in-state tuition, or even going to a community college for the first year or maybe even the first 2 years and then transferring. But do that. I mean, stepping over a state line to go to the public schools of the state next to you can cost up to 3 times the amount, and you're basically getting the same education. So don't do that. Private fancy schools, I mean, do they have great education? Sure, absolutely. But you don't have to have a degree from one of those schools to go out and win in the marketplace. So don't believe that lie either. Now, if you have the money to send your kids anywhere, then that's fine. But going into debt for an out-of-state school or a private university is just not wise. So going to that affordable school. Number 2, scholarships and grants. Apply for as many as possible. I was talking to a girl in Texas, and she said her mom was a single mom, made her apply for 2 scholarships a day. They're doing that. And then lastly, research has shown us that the average college student can work or will work 20 hours a week. They can pay their way through an in-state school. So you can literally work your way through. And so by doing those kind of things, talking to your financial aid office, some will even break up a semester into a cash payment plan where you pay a little bit at the beginning and then some in the middle. Maybe they can work with you with that. So if you have, a child that's a junior even, starting a junior of high school next fall, there's still time. And just doing those 3 things, I promise you can go to school debt free.
The one word that appears in this book, Smart Money, Smart Kids, over and over, and I really love this word, is just contentment.
Yeah, I think contentment is a key principle when it comes to teaching your kids about money. If you do not have content kids, they will forever be trying to fulfill themselves with stuff and spending money and figuring out what's going to make them happy. And so being content is not being, apathetic or not being lazy, but it's really having peace with where you are in life and just being content. And I think contentment comes from a heart that's grateful. And that grateful heart, again, kind of wraps back around to when your kids are giving.
I love it. Well, Rachel, you are a joy. It's a joy to see you. It's a joy to interact with you. It's a great book.
Thanks for having me on.
If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. And to stay updated on everything that the Action Catalyst is up to, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Action Catalyst Podcast and on Twitter at Catalyst_Action. And as always, thanks for listening.